How's it going, everyone? My name is Frontier.setter. In this video, we're going to be re-reviewing the Heckler and Koch USP Compact. So I made a previous video about this before, but I'm really not satisfied with how that one turned out. So now that it's been some time, and my thoughts on this have changed a little bit, here is a update video. So, let's get to it. Chair is squeaky. So, a little bit of background before we dive into this re-review. So I carried this USP Compact for about 1.5 years inside the waistband and the appendix position. And it has been with me through many vlogs and numerous adventures. As you can see, mine has some noticeable holster wear on the slide, and I actually kind of like that because I feel like it gives it a little bit of character. So yeah, mine is definitely no longer factory new. We all know the USP is an iconic weapon, and the USP-C is just what that is, a smaller, compact version of that gun. And I can't help but think that if Snake had to wear civilian clothes and get civilian gear, he would carry something just like this. What am I saying? He'd probably find a way to carry his Mark 23 with the LAM appendix somehow concealed anyways. But I digress. On to the review. The USP-C, as far as I know, is way more accurate than I am. So, 100 for combat accuracy. However, I can't really test the precision because I don't have a ransom rest. The sights are very small, actually quite minuscule when you take into consideration the full size of this whole pistol. But this does work because they are combat sights, which means that you have to place the front dot over your intended bullseye. This is also known as cover-up hold and probably has a whole bunch of other names, but yeah, you pretty much just have to cover your target with the front post. Besides that, the factory sights are just pretty much your standard 3-dot sight. So accuracy, it shoots straight, and that's kind of all you need to have in a pistol. Yes. As we know, HK is known for a lot of things, but one of the things here is its rigorous testing standards. Quality control is one of the perks you get when you buy a weapon like this. As you can see from this dated video here, they put their designs through hell. But as for me personally, I've put thousands of rounds through this gun. Not tens of thousands, only thousands. I kind of lost track over like the 5,000 bullet mark or whatever, so I don't know. It's been a long time. And as for ammo types, I've only run brass and nickel-plated ammo through this gun. More specifically, Winchester White Box, Remington Range Bucket, Blazer Brass, and Hornady defensive rounds. I can't remember any particular instances of malfunction. However, with anything mechanical, things will break down eventually. Obviously, the springs, the pins, extractor, barrel, all this stuff needs to be changed out over time. But for now, this pistol is still running strong. Oh yeah, I haven't run any steel or aluminum cased ammo through this either. Like maybe there was a box of Tula ammo that was laying around that I did throw through this, but nothing like extensive. HK states that they do not like having steel cased or aluminum cased ammo through this because they can just put more undue wear onto the extractor. But I've also read a lot of people run steel case and stuff like that through their gun and they don't have any issues, so I guess your mileage will vary with that. So besides reliability, HK is also known for their supreme build quality. These guns are rugged, over-engineered, and overbuilt. And that's a good thing because if you put like high-pressure ammo through this, you know that it shouldn't really go blown up in your hand. The USP slide is especially thick. As I've mentioned previously, thick is life. It really gives your hand something to grab onto when you rack that slide back. This assembly is pretty simple. You just lock the slide back, eject the mag, check the chamber if there's anything loaded, line up the slide with the slide pin, push the pin out, take the slide off, and then you take your recoil spring and your barrel out, and that's pretty much a simple field strip right there. HK barrels are polygonally grooved, which is great because it improves accuracy, improves longevity, and it's really easy to clean. It just pretty much improves a lot of things. And they say that these barrels are cold hammer forged from cannon grade steel. I'm pretty sure that's just another fancy way of saying that they're really high quality and they're accurate due to the manufacturing process. I had to look at the script because I can't remember what I wrote down. So here are the grips. As you can see, there are two main grip textures on this gun. The front and back have this really amazing pyramid pattern that's kind of like a knurling on a barbell, but just much more aggressive, and it's just great because it provides pretty much all the friction that you need. And the sides are kind of like this more traditional low grit sandpaper stippling. It's very aggressive. It does stick to your palms really well. However, when you're carrying this appendix, it's super abrasive and it just rubs on in your stomach. The grip angle is very natural, which helps with point shooting or instinctual shooting, and it just it feels good in your hands when you point it at a target. I don't know what else to say about it. There was this one video that TFBTV did about the USB Compact, and I don't know, I think it was Patrick or something. He said that all the controls got in the way of his natural grip, and that might be, like his thing, but when I shoot with a modern thumbs forward grip, everything rests fine on the gun without disturbing any of the functions. So when I shoot, my left thumb goes right on top of the slide release bar. So I have this clearance between my thumb and the slide release. So my right thumb goes right on top of the control lever here. And you know, you can't engage anything because your palm is right there. It's just, it blocks the way. So it's at a perfect place. I've never had any issues with accidentally dropping my slide forward or putting the gun into safe or decocking it. I mean, maybe that's just me, but I have not had any issues with grip on the gun personally. So the USB-C does have this more ridged concave trigger guard, which is good if you want to like loop your index finger over it. And I used to shoot like that, but now I'm all about thumbs forward, baby! The USP and USB-C have a bunch of variants. These numbers pretty much just designate the trigger type, if it's a double action, single action, if it's the double action only, and also where the control lever is placed and what functions that have. So that just kind of, I guess the main takeaway is it's modular. You can kind of customize this to how you want it. And as I mentioned before, I still like double action, single action pistols. So the differences between this and a striker fire gun is striker fire is pretty simple. You just find the wall, apply some pressure, and the shear will break, essentially. And that's how the gun drives the striker forward. However, with the double action, the first pull is heavier. And this is because you have to manually pull the hammer back. Hence, double action, it pulls the hammer back, and then it sends it forward. So to do this consistently with good accuracy, you almost have to roll the trigger backwards. That's kind of how you want to think of it. You just kind of pull it back consistently, and you don't have to wait for that break, I suppose. You just pull it back. And that's where I think a lot of people get tripped up, is that kind of motion. But it is true though. The trigger on this, even for double action, is very, very mediocre. Kind of shitty, actually. It's not very smooth, and it's kind of gritty. You probably can't tell, but it's not the best pull, and it's heavy. I don't have like a scale or anything to weigh how heavy it is, but it's heavy, and it's noticeable. Is it that hard to pull back though? No, your fingers are pretty strong if you haven't noticed. Subsequent shots after the first shot are only in single action, obviously. The break is pretty decent. It has a little bit of take up, not that much squish, and it breaks pretty clean. The reset is also really short, which makes it great for follow-up shots. And you can also convert the USB-C into an LEM trigger. So I still have to buy this kit here and do the conversion and stuff like that, and this will definitely be a future investment, but more on that later. Now, if you don't know what LEM is, it just stands for law enforcement modification. So essentially what it does is it changes your gun into a light double action only trigger with a short reset. I guess that's kind of the quickest way to put it, but it's not the best way. If you want to know more about LEM, click on the video I think it's right here, or in the description below. But yeah, there are so many advantages of carrying a double action, single action gun in the appendix position, and you can probably figure out why that's a good thing. So as far as capacity goes, the USB Compact ships with 13 round mags from the factory, or 10 round magazines if you live in a state like Massachusetts where they only limit you with 10 rounders. Unfortunately, I do not currently have any 13 round magazines for this gun, because most of these purchases were made when I lived in a state that infringes on American rights. And the crappy thing about these 10 rounders is you can't convert them at all into 13 rounders or full size or whatever you have it. They have this strange baseplate design that pretty much prevents you from doing that, and it sucks. But I do use these mags just for pretty much just training. You know, I can just be rough with them and kind of just throwaway mags, you know? It does make me very sad that I have to buy whole new mags, but it's okay. More things in the mail is always kind of fun. Unlike the full-size USP, which only takes full-size USP mags, the USB-C can take mags from the full-size P30 and the VP9, which is pretty awesome. So having that magazine interchangeability is just a nice feature to have on this smaller gun. So I know other guns in this size category have a bigger capacity, but for me, 13 plus 1 or 10 plus 1 is enough for day-to-day, and you can just carry another mag, or just more stendo mags or whatever. The mags themselves are very well built. Yeah, not much to say about them, I guess. So the controls are pretty standard for your double action, single action gun. It has this huge honking slide release here, and this is a slide release. Look at the manual. This is a slide release, and you can use it as such. It was designed that way. But the unfortunate thing about the slide release is that it's only on the left side. So if you're a lefty shooter or whatever, there is not one that's ambidextrous. The funny thing is the airsoft version actually has an ambidextrous slide release, which is actually kind of cool, and I would love to see that on the real one, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. Too bad. It has this control lever here, which will differ depending on what variant you have, but mine has a safety, which is in the up position, and also a decocker, which is when you cock the slide back and there is the hammer drawn back, you just push down to decock the hammer. So, as with all HK pistols, well, all modern HK pistols, I suppose, they all have this mag release that's a paddle instead of a button. And as I've mentioned before, I prefer the paddle over the button for a couple of reasons. It is, for one, inherently ambidextrous. You can use it on both sides because it's located on both sides. It is easily manipulated with all your fingers. You can activate it with your index, your middle finger, your thumb. Hell, you can even go up to your pinky if you wanted. I mean, I don't know why you would, but you can. This gives you options because you never have to change your grip when you're doing it. The webbing of your hand will always stick to the back of the gun, regardless of what kind of release you use. And there is a lot of benefit to doing that, because you don't have to readjust anything as you present your firearm to your assailant, or whatever. Yes. Where am I going with this? Holy shit, this review is really freaking long, man. Oh my god. Another nice thing is you can't accidentally press this. You have to deliberately press this pedal down. And when you draw and stuff like that, if your draw stroke is kind of weird and your hand placement is weird, there's just no way of you actually releasing a mag on that draw. And also, the mags always seat really firmly. When you hear that click, you know the mag is in. And yeah, they ain't going nowhere. I ain't leaving. The mags ain't leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. The USP was designed for a lot of adverse conditions, and in this case, winter or Arctic would be one, and you usually have your hands gloved. And that's why all the controls are huge. The lever is big, the trigger guard is huge, so you can get gloved hands in there too, and the slide release as well. So that's kind of what they designed that on. I guess if you're not wearing gloves, it's also good if you have like huge banana fingers? Salad fingers? I don't know, man. So, I am not gonna lie, it's a big gun, and it's like barely compact. I guess it is because of the barrel length, but still, it's not that small. Not at all. But I like it, because thick is life. So I'm a pretty small guy. I'm only 5'6", and I weigh around 175 pounds. If I can carry this appendix inside the waistband, really anybody can. As far as printing, no one has ever really noticed it on me, or they've never said anything, or I've never gotten the cops called on me, so I have a 0-star rating right now in terms of GTA. To be honest, the people that wear like the 5'11" tactical pants and white Oakleys with the orange frames and a tactical Molly backpack, you're giving away way more to the normal person than somebody that's printing their gun. I mean, let's be honest here. Your attire says a lot more about you than the bulge in your pants. Or does it? But as I mentioned before, the grips are really rough, especially on the sides here. So this is gonna feel like sandpaper just rubbing on your stomach. And throughout the day, it does get uncomfortable, especially if you have a tactical belly. And I'm starting to get one too because I can't stop eating the sushi. And I suppose you can mitigate this if you put like some Talon grips on it. I just don't like those kind of stickers because I feel like they never stay on that long and you have to keep replacing them and they get kind of gooey. And the only stickers that I like are those weapon grade waifu stickers. The USP-C does have this bobbed hammer here, and this just helps with preventing the gun from getting snagged as you draw it from concealment. And it's just so cute. But yeah, I guess that just about covers it all. So, since this gun was developed and first produced in the 90s, you know I'm all about that aesthetic. Send it home, 90s babies! 90s baby, I pump up the jam! Even though I was born in 1989, I bet you didn't think I was that old, did you? Because I guess I don't really act like it either. And I wear anime clothes and getting old and I wake up and my back hurts and I have an inversion table now and pay off my loans and... So I love this aesthetic, even compared with modern guns. I still think this design holds up. I like the sharp angles. It's very aggressive, but it's still understated. Kind of like the Lockheed Martin Nighthawk. It's just very stealthy, but you know It's got some punch to it. But this look isn't for everyone. I know some people like a more classic looking gun. So yeah, I guess opinions are opinions, yeah? But I will say, I dig it, and I always will. You can't change my mind. You can't. So, there isn't a huge aftermarket for the USPC. You don't really need a large aftermarket if you made a good product in the first place. Right now, I have the Meprolite True Dot sights with the green front post and the 2 yellow rear posts. And the reason I like that dot setup is because at nighttime, when you're engaging all your targets at nighttime, because you do that as a civilian, you can distinguish the sight picture easier, and it just kind of helps you find that front post faster. It's cool. They're night sights. They're the same as the factory sights that got tritium in them. There are several upgrade kits though for the USP. You can get a whole bunch of custom work to kind of smooth out the internals. As I mentioned before, you can upgrade the trigger kit, match grade trigger, or an LEM, or a hybrid of both. There's a good amount of stuff if you know where to look. There are a few companies that offer holster support. My first holster for the USPC was this Hitchhiker holster made by T5 Custom Kydex. Thanks again, Jerry. And I also have this G-Code Incog Eclipse holster, which is nice because it's pretty small, and it's comfy because of all this fuzz. So one big complaint a lot of people have is that the USP and the USPC have this proprietary rail system. The USP was one of the first, if not the first pistol to have this kind of accessory rail. So you can owe it to HK for kind of coming up with that idea there. You can also buy these 1913 pick adapters to put on this if you really want a weapon light. It's not that hard. It adds a little bit more bulk. You can have it if you want, okay? Options. Options. You got options. So, this gun is expensive. It is. It's an expensive thing. MSRP ranges from $919 or $999 depending on what you find. And that's, you know, new in box. So, kinda steep there. So there are tons of other modern options for less than half the price of this one pistol. That is true. I cannot even deny that. You can find this used for cheaper, but, you know, it's expensive. And, yeah, things cost money. And a lot of people say, wow, this cheaper gun can do exactly what this more expensive gun can do. And you know what? I can't argue with that. A lot of guns now are pretty reliable and they shoot straight. They just, you know, that's called engineering, folks. But you don't buy an Aston Martin and complain about the price. And that's why HK is the hype beast of the gun world. It's expensive, it's not for everyone. But when you buy something like this, you can feel the quality that's put into it. There's a lot of engineering and thought put into their designs. So that's the end. This is the end? I don't know. So I'm getting tired doing this, man. I need to eat some of this freaking calorie mate I got here. It's gonna be pretty good.
I see you have a calorie mate.
Calorie mate?
The thing you're holding now?
Oh, the little block that looks like a cookie?
Try it, it's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm trying to compete in IDPA. There's a local range here that I found that actually hosts these events, which is awesome. But I do have to buy a few things first. I have to buy some non-shit 10-round mags. I have to buy some new base plates. And I will be using my T5 Custom Kydex holster, although I think I might need to purchase a separate mag caddy just in case. And I will be running it inside the waistband appendix because that's how I carry every day, and that's how I will compete. Because I don't want to wear one of those fish vests. You know, I'm really bad at fishing. No, I'm bad at fishing even in Final Fantasy 15. I can't fish, okay? I'm not good at fishing. I'm not gonna wear a fucking fishing vest. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing it. So I am currently testing out some of these base plates here. These are made by Solemn Tool, and this one actually fits on my P2000. If I can get this dang thing to focus. So they're pretty nice base plates, and they're weighted under 1 ounce, so they're legal for those competitions. Where's my gun? There it is. Let's see here. Okay. Overall, I love this gun. It holds a very sentimental place in my heart because it's just been with me through a lot of happy times, you know? I still think it's a viable platform. Even though it's a, you know, technically a dated design. It doesn't have front serrations or anything like that. It has this safety. You gotta do a lot of work to it if you want it to be LEM and get it the way you want it to. And, you know, the aftermarket is kind of scarce and it's really expensive. If you are looking for something new and something different, and you have some money to blow, and you've always wondered, like, why do people like HK so much? What's the fucking big deal about HK? Is it just those red letters that say hella clout or what? What is it that sets them apart from everybody else? Try a USP. Try a USP full size, try compact, try one of their hammer fired guns, and you'll see why people love them so much. Or you won't, and you'll hate HK, and you'll pretty much tell everybody that they suck ass. And, you know, that's cool too, because that's your opinion. And, oh, well, I'm glad that's over with. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, and share it with your other tactical friends. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this kind of content. I just hope you found it informative or entertaining. And if you're not, you know, feel free to hit the dislike button. That's cool too. Well, it's not, but, I mean, you know, do what you want. You know, you do you, I do me, I don't know. I just hope you enjoyed, you know, thanks for sticking out this long, and yeah. Hope to see you on the next one, and always remember to stay tactically kawaii.